NORA is a relatively new company, about 18 months old. Started the company after we sold Orco Silver back in 2013. That was when Orco was sold for $400 million roughly. Since then, we've been putting a team together. I just hired Paulo Nuno Casna, who historically is instrumental in this type of deposits that we have right now in our company. He was employed with Eurozinc for 10 years, which Lundin Mining took over. And after that, he went and spent some time with Brazilian Gold Corp. And we were lucky to get him on board to our company in February of this year. Jit Basi, ex-Gold Corp guy, another good addition to our board. We're just beginning to build our board, and as time goes forward here, we'll probably see more changes to our board. Corporate structure, shares issued 87 million shares, roughly 25% of them are owned by management. EMX Royalties owns 10% of the company, and roughly of the 65% float, I would say half, maybe 60% of the 60% is extremely well held with a lot of my previous shareholders that came from Orco and are fairly long-term shareholders and are looking for us to do a similar type deal that we did in Orco Silver. And we're hoping that we can do that with NORA. So talked a little bit about Orco, a company that I sold, instrumental in putting it together. Started it from day one, from basically a 8-cent stock and $4 million market cap, very similar to what NORA is today, and built it up to a resource of 400 million and sold it to Corp Mining in an all-cash buyout. And we're hoping that we can achieve the same success with NORA. Prior to that, I was also involved in the initial discovery of the South Chemas, which then we brought in Hunter Dickinson Group to a company called El Condor to do a joint venture. And that company was subsequently sold to Royal Oak. Our share was $470 million. And that was back in late 90s, early 2000s. So why are we in Norway? Norway is a country that is just opening up. Until very recently, the perception for Norway was that it was more oil and gas. The discovery of the North Sea oil back in 1960, 57, 60, basically, created this big wealth in Norway, and they never really worried about their mining infrastructure, and they didn't care about anything until very recently in 2010, Norway changed its mining law, where until 2010, you could own any concession in Norway and you didn't have to do any work. The government introduced a law, 2010, going forward, everyone gets 7 years, you do some work or you lose the properties. So as a result of that, 2018, midsummer is when we went there. And as we got very lucky in acquiring the two projects that we have in the company. This was done in joint partnership with EMX Royalties, where EMX acquired roughly 60, 70 projects. And we had the first right of option to acquire whatever what we wanted out of that portfolio. And Norway has a lot of infrastructure for mining. It has low power cost. There's a culture for mining there. There's a lot of 6 smelters in the area and very cheap power, which is unusual for a country like Norway. The two properties that we have, the Blekvassli is a past producer that produced until 97, and Maraker, a project that was last mined in 1914. So the Blekvassli camp is a very exciting camp. It is located in a very prolific mining area, underexplored because, like I said, there hasn't been any mining activity in the country for the last 50 years in this particular region. And what we discovered was that the mine produced or was discovered in 1914, and it produced on and off for a little while, consistently produced from 1992 to 1997. And it's located near the port of Roraima, and it's like 50 kilometers away. There is another smelter on the Swedish side, which is owned by Boliden, which is about 6 hours away by road. And a lot of the work that was done there was done by a group of miners that actually live on the property today, and they just followed the old historical way of mining like we did in Mexico, in our project in Mexico. And basically they never applied any new techniques to this project. And what we have since discovered is that all the data that we recovered, and now we've digitized a lot of it. There's 1,400 drill holes on this property. Of the 1,400, we have now digitized 1,000 of those drill holes, which is now on our website in a leapfrog model that you can go on the website and have a look at. But what they never did was they never looked for gold and silver on these projects. They followed more for zinc and copper and lead. And they just abruptly stopped mining in 1997. This is the overall mine site. You can see these are some of the buildings like the shaft and the actual mines underground here. So limited exploration, like I said, dewatered in 1998, operated till 97, and the Norwegian Mining Institute put the last known resource of 750,000 tons. This is before we discovered all the data that we did. And the data that we have discovered now indicates that the resource is a lot larger than the 750. And that's the goal for us going forward, to put in a new 43-101. And that'll take us roughly between 14 and 15 months to complete. The best analogy for the Black Vassli is the Rinkgruvan mine, which is the Lundin mine that is on the Sweden side. It was discovered or actually acquired by Lundin in 1990, and basically they've been mining there ever since. And the deeper they go, the copper grades are getting much, much higher. And today, they started out with 6 million tons. Today, they have 50 million tons in resource and continuing to operate. So this is a very, very exciting project, simply because the amount of work that's occurred on this property, if you had to duplicate that work today in all these adits and the shaft and all the data that we've recovered and all the geophysics that we have so far, I don't think that we would have been able to pick it up for the amount of money that we paid for it. So when you look at the amount of work, it is out of this world. I mean, there is so much work that's gone on. This is actually from the leapfrog model that I just talked about. What this indicates is this is the area that they mine. The upside is to the north, where you can see all this drilling, where they actually had adits going into the area to mine, and that's when they stopped mining. So what we would like to do is take this area and extend that. On this side here, on the south side, it clearly shows that the mine faults. And what we would like to do is figure out where that fault is kind of diverted. And that's never been done by the old people that were actually working there. So the exciting thing here is that it's open at depth, it's open on either sides, and we have an area that we've just discovered right here. So this is the historical mine. This is an area which is 12 kilometers long, and what tells you is that the upside for this project is tremendous, and that's what we need to go out and figure out how big we can make this mine. So this is a very nice picture where this is actually one of the adits that goes into the property. In Norway, there is a rule that any mining company that does any drilling, half the drill core goes into the Loken core facility, which is a government-owned facility. So this is how we discovered all the drill holes that I'm just talking about. a lot of them are there. What we need to do is pick and figure out which ones we want to re-assay and retest so that we can create this 43101 that we're looking to do. This is the 2 rooms that we discovered full of data that we didn't even know existed. And as a result of all this data, we've been able to, since we hired Paulo in February, he's been able to bring in a lot of that data and digitize that. That's 1. 2, of the 1,400 drill holes is digitized now, 1,000 of those drill holes. So that's a big change since my last conference with Miv here and with Greg. And also since the last conference that we were on, we have now been able to apply for the drill permit, now applied for the actual exploration permit. 2 weeks ago, we actually met with the mayor of the Black Parsley mine in the town and made our presentation and basically community relationship that we need to do in order to advise the people in town that we're now looking to come into the area to start a work program so that if they look at strangers, they know who we are. And tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., we have the last meeting that we are now going to present to the Sami, which is the indigenous group of Norway. And that will basically, we are not in their way, but what we would like to do is make sure that they're on board and they know who we are. So that'll happen tomorrow. So going forward here, one other thing that has happened is the Norwegian government has done a flyover of geophysics, geochem on all of Norway, which we benefit for nothing. And what we have now done is we've asked them if we could increase and detail more of our properties in a shorter line format in a geophysics. They're letting us know how much that would cost. So that would be a significant saving for us. Thirdly, we have now been looking for companies and we're looking to bid on drilling program, along with the help of EMX, who is actually looking for obtaining a much larger drill contract, of which we would piggy bank for what we need in the way of a minimum of 2 to maximum of 5,000 meters of drilling, which is what we're looking to do. Okay, so that is now the next phase of the process for the company. And that's exciting, which I think for the first time, since we acquired this property, we are actually able to start working and doing something in the country. So that wasn't the case all of last year. So that's another very big positive. So that's the Maraca, I mean, the Black Parsley. The Maraca project is very exciting. Like I said, it has not been worked on since 1914. It's got a lot of upside, a very large land package. Again, it is located in central Norway, very good infrastructure, power lines, railway roads, paved highways in both cases, and very close to a port, close to the town of Trondheim, so it's easy access to get there. And basically, what we would like to do as the first phase is first, as soon as we receive the Norwegian mining survey, upgrade that and discover our drill targets that we would like to test this year, later part of the year. So this Maraca would be the project where we would probably do some work later in September, October, November time. Okay, but the good thing here is that it is untouched since 1914, and some of the samples that we have obtained from the government, and I mean, they are just out of this world. I mean, you look at some of these numbers, they're just mind-boggling. You pick up any rock in the area and you assay it, it just goes crazy. They never assayed for gold, which is what we've done, and you can see some of the numbers that have come back, and they're exciting. Copper, again, is very, very high, and so is the zinc numbers. So that's the second project that I think we're very excited about. Thirdly, I'll just very briefly talk about our project in British Columbia, the permit. It's in good standing. We have no pressure. This was the first project that we acquired in the company We actually spent a lot of money on it. First ever diamond drill hole on it. We drilled in 2017. The market just wasn't ready for pure exploration at the time. So we decided to drop that. And as a result of that, acquired the 2 projects in Norway. We have roughly 3 parties that are actually looking at the pyramid right now for a JV that we're discussing. So no urgency, no rush on that property. So why Norra? Norra, we have proven in the past where I personally have been involved in at least 3 buyouts where we've started companies very similar to what Norra is today and built up enough value for a third-party major mining company to say, okay, we'll buy you guys out. That hopefully will be duplicated here. We have very good projects. Our carrying costs for the projects are very, very minimal. We have already created a lot of exits for our shareholders, and we're hoping this would be our next one. So that's the story for Norra. Thank you.